After learning Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, now here is a short segment on 3 different pranayams. There's Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, the alternate nostril breathing. Then we're going to learn 2 more pranayams, Kapal Bhati Pranayama and Ujjayi Pranayama. So we'll start with Kapal Bhati Pranayama, which is called, or can be called, shining skull or shining forehead breathing, which is pulse breathing from the sternum or diaphragm. Before beginning Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, Kapal Bhati Pranayama, the quick pulse nostril breathing from the sternum or diaphragm with both nostrils open, can be practiced for 5 to 30 seconds. What does this mean? I'll demonstrate this. First, imagine through your mouth you're fogging a mirror. That's the way this is commonly taught. If you're fogging a mirror, you hold the mirror in front of you and you go, ha, 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 ha. Now with pulse nostril breathing, you're doing something similar, but now instead of through the mouth, you're doing it through the nose. You're going, hmm, 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 hmm. And you can feel if you've got one hand on your belly button, you can feel your sternum and diaphragm compressing and that forcing air up and through your nostrils. So that's what Kapal Bhati Pranayama is. And we can do that for 5 to 30 seconds before beginning Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, and I'll explain why in a slide or 2. The reason for performing this quick pulse breathing will be explained later in this presentation when the mechanics are described of how through pulse breath, the frill, also called chi or prana, is harvested or captured. Harvested is the word Jen had used, but the frill is like an energy source. We capture that energy source and direct it through our body, and pulse breath helps us to do that. Kapal Bhati Pranayama can be practiced either while sitting in a comfortable position, not straining, and it should be with proper posture, not like you're straining to sit in a full lotus where it's killing you. Just like sit comfortably in a chair, or you can be standing in a semi-crouch position, which means you bend on your knees, go lower, lean forward, and don't bend your head down. That's not good for your neck. And then you can practice putting one hand over your navel and feeling the belly pulsing in and out with the breath. You probably can't hear me, but I just did it. Kapal Bhati breathing has been called shining skull breathing, shining forehead breathing, or breath of fire, because it is held to enliven the subtle light in the third eye in the forehead. So now we're going to summarize the 2 pranayams we've learned so far, and then we're going to look at the next one, the third one. We first learned Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, which is the diaphragmatic alternate nostril breathing, which can be practiced by itself for several minutes before beginning Yoga Nidra, followed by Dorm Dorhu. Next, which is the last slide, we next learn Kapal Bhati Pranayama, which is quick pulse nostril breathing from the diaphragm. So after several weeks or months of practicing Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, when you feel comfortable, you can add Kapal Bhati Pranayama for 5 to 30 seconds before beginning the alternate nostril breathing. So this quick pulse nostril breathing from the diaphragm can be done, the Kapal Bhati, before beginning the alternate nostril breathing. So in Kapal Bhati, both nostrils are open. Then at the next stage, which we're going to learn in the next slide, after several weeks or months of practicing Kapal Bhati Pranayama, followed by Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, we can add more one more pranayama, which is Ujjayi pranayama. This can be practiced along with Nadi Shodhana pranayama, which is the alternate nostril breathing. So it's an added thing we can do along with Nadi Shodhana pranayama, and we'll teach that in the next slide. Ujjayi pranayama, and Ujjayi means victorious, like victorious over gaining enlightenment or removing obstacles. Ujjayi pranayama opens up the three bandhas, which I'll explain shortly, or three locks. So Ujjayi pranayama is practiced with Nadi Shodhana pranayama, the alternate nostril breathing, to engage the three bandhas or three locks or potential blockage points along the spine where we want the energy to flow nicely up the spine. So let's open up those three potential blockage points. The first one is called Mula Bandha, which is at the base of the spine, the pelvic floor, the root chakra. Then Uddiyana Bandha, the abdominal lock, which is where at the level of the navel or the diaphragm, and Jalandhara Bandhana, which is the chin or throat lock. So how do we engage these three bandhas? To practice Ujjayi pranayama, the first step is to establish Ujjayi breathing by gently constricting the back of the throat while breathing, and this creates a soft ocean-like sound. So this, I think of it, reminds me of light snoring breathing, as if you constrict the back of the throat, like if you're in a room with someone snoring and their throat is constricted, their nose is constricted, you'd hear them go, they'd be like wheezing. You don't have to do it that strongly, but that's just to give you an idea. And some people call it Darth Vader breathing. But some people don't like that word because they didn't like Darth Vader. He was kind of scary. So the first step is constrict the back of the throat, and this creates a soft ocean-like sound. So it can be all ocean breathing. And then while inhaling from bottom to top means from the pelvis up, the pelvic floor up to the diaphragm, up to the throat. Gently engage Mula Bandha by lifting the pelvic floor, like scrunching your pelvis or your those two muscles on the other side. We call them your cheeks or something. Then Uddiyana Bandha by drawing the navel slightly inward, which is good for your posture. And then Jalandhara Bandhana by tucking the chin slightly towards the chest. So we don't bend over, we're not slouching, but we're sitting, so we contract the buttocks, which lifts the pelvic floor. We draw the navel slightly in, and then we tuck the chin, which is like backward and down a little bit. We're not bending forward. And we do that. So when we're inhaling, we pull the prana up or from the pelvic floor up, like we normally do in pulse in alternate nostril breathing. First, we engage the lower part, then we engage we went from the diaphragm up, and now we're going all the way from the pelvic floor up to the diaphragm, up to the chest, up to the throat. Well, we're engaging these three bandhas. So we hold those in a little bit. We're not straining. So combining the three is known as Mahabandha, the great lock. If comfortable, you can continue Ujjayi pranayama with throat constricted and bandhas engaged during the entire period of alternate nostril breathing. But if it's not comfortable, you can just do it at the beginning. Ujjayi pranayama, victorious breathing to open up the three bandhas. It may seem very complicated or a little complicated at first, but after some time it will feel natural. Here is a way to get it started that is simple as wringing out a cloth. When you're sitting in a chair or cross-legged, if that's comfortable for you, first sit up straight. You're not slouched over, and that's an important point for all of the pranayamas. Then after constricting the throat, imagine you're wringing out a cloth, like wringing out a cloth, like with your hands, but here it's with your throat, as it moves through the three held bandha areas from top down when exhaling. So when exhaling, you're wringing out the cloth first at the throat, then at the diaphragm, then at the pelvic floor, from top down when exhaling, then from bottom up when inhaling. And wringing out the cloth is equivalent to engaging the three bandhas. Do not strain to constrict the throat or hold the bandhas throughout the entire alternate nostril breathing period. If it happens naturally, that is fine. If not, no problem. Okay, so this is the final slide on pranayama, and the question is, why are we doing pranayama? And why all three of them? It's getting too complicated. We started with one, and then we added one more, and now we have three, and this is getting over the top. Why are we doing all this? Well, Nadi Shodhana pranayama, the alternate nostril breathing with attention and from the diaphragm, puts attention on the frill, which is also called chi or prana, and enlivens its flow throughout the body. So that's its purpose. And that's what we first learn, and we do that, and that enlivens the flow. That's why our attention is very important. I used to do pranayama without attention. It didn't really do anything. Now with attention, you can experience the flow of prana. Then the next step is Kapal Bhati pranayama, the pulse breath from the diaphragm. Why do that one? Well, that propels the frill through the system. The pulse breath propels the frill or prana, clearing the blocks and enlivening the entire mind and body, including the chakras. Whereas the alternate nostril breathing just enlivened it, the Kapal Bhati propels it, so it gives it like extra power to travel through the system. And then the Ujjayi pranayama, with the throat constricted and the bandhas engaged, pulse from the diaphragm, that enhances the process even more in the gentle dissolving of blockages, because that constricts, these three areas, the three bandhas, like we're wringing out a cloth, and that helps remove the blockages along the spine and enhances the flow of prana. And just to be honest with you, the reason I started and only taught the first pranayama was that's where I was at that time. Then later I realized the second one, the Kapal Bhati pranayama, gave me added experience, deeper experiences. So I put that in. And then the Ujjayi pranayama, I realized, even enhanced my experience even more. So the reason I put them in stages like that is because that was how I experienced them in stages. And they each added like another engine and more power to this whole process of Dorm Dorhu and meditation. So on the next slide, with Yoga Nidra and Dorm Dorhu, we let go and surrender or witness the process. So the pranayama was more actively engaged on the breathing, on the constricting, on the bandhas, on the pulse breath. Now we let go of all that. No longer we trying to do anything. We let go and surrender to the process of Yoga Nidra and Dorm Dorhu, perhaps falling into pure transcendental being or bliss as the inner frequencies of the heart are naturally enlivened and radiated out. So this, everything unfolds perfectly in sequence, meaning we learn one pranayama, then we learn the second, then we learn the third. So as you go along, you can start with just the alternate nostril breathing for some time, weeks or months. Then if you want, you can add the Kapal Bhati pranayama. And then after some time, when you feel comfortable or it's natural, you can add the third one. So everything unfolds in sequence. So now we'll go on to learning about Dorm, Dorhu, and Yoga Nidra.